Leaving you in the dust, man.
Leveling
Might as well
up
just
without
delete
me.
it.
Yeah.
Just delete
It
it.
just
Yeah.
sounds so
My
upsetting.
life as a Pokemon trainer is over, I guess.
I don't even
Before
understand.
it even started.
Why would you be a Pokemon trainer?
Because you got to train, you got to level them up, you got to power them up, and like evolve them, and and fight gym leaders.
Is
and
there
stuff.
an end goal? Like
They're
or is
gym
this-
leaders, so you can be like the mayor of a place,
gym leader.
but you're the gym leader, and people have to like battle you, and they go there to.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
this is
Do you like give up your spot if you lose?
I think if you
Somebody
lose
else
like a certain number of times, like you sort of like have to keep a good win rate.
okay.
Interesting.
So you want to be the mayor of your own Pokemon town?
You want to be the very best, like no one
Very-
ever
yes,
was.
that's
Isn't it all sort of based
absolutely.
on chance, though?
So,
No.
so it's called Pokemon Go?
Pokemon Go, yeah,
Okay.
you got to like walk to the right place.
I'm so confused by what it is, but congratulations, our resident trainer, Brad here. Hello, everyone tuning in. This is Trends with Benefits, our weekly roundtable podcast where we talk about tech and different things that are going on our site and all over the place and things that you guys want to talk about. So if you're watching via YouTube, go ahead and pop in your comments there, and we'll get to those as we go through. My name's Greg Nibbler. I've got to clarify whatever the hell Pokemon Go is just a little bit before we get too far into it. But we're also going to be covering a bunch of other things, including a VR porn festival, because why not? A new security robot that is not necessarily looking so secure, and several other things that we're going to get to, including VR at the Olympics and some Tesla updates. But to my right, our resident Pokemon trainer, please explain it just in like 3 sentences. How would you explain what this is?
You walk to specific places
Uh-huh.
to catch specific Pokemon and then train and battle them.
And it's you battle them. You
Yeah.
fight other Pokemon.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is Pokemon Go, and you download it, and you just find them randomly.
Yeah, it'll say like, oh, this Pokemon is so far away, and you've got to sort of walk around and find them.
Do they move around? Do they disappear? Can you get there and somebody else got it?
I don't think so, but I think they're sort of like tied to specific places. So people were saying there's like one place in Japan where you can find Pikachu. There's like one little part of town where like that's even possible.
And can everybody find that one, or are you?
Yeah, as long as you go to that place,
Okay.
and stay there long enough, you theoretically would find it.
Okay, all right. Well, that's kind of clarifying a little bit.
I guess, yeah.
So
But
where are the best-
congratulations, because you did
Thank
find
you.
one today.
Where are the best Pokemon located?
I assume by the water, or in like I don't know.
Is that a thing?
No idea.
Is that a thing?
Why would they be by the water?
I don't know. That's the only
They
ones
like
I
to
don't
drink.
have. I guess. Well, you want to catch them all, so you got to like go to places.
Where
don't
have you
normally go.
caught them so far in Portland?
I caught one in the park across the street from my house. And I
Was
caught
there water there?
There was no water there. It was a Doduo, and it wasn't very interesting.
You're just pouring water on
Yeah.
your shirt.
Ah.
I need a water Pokemon.
Pokemon base.
Yeah. So it sounds like we need to send you on a DT excursion across the world,
just
right? To find all the
wandering
best
about
Pokemon.
downtown
Yeah.
Portland trying to find Pokemon. Yeah.
Budget approved.
Yeah, right. Done. Go.
Do it.
All right, and to Brad's right,
Oh, hey, I'm Nick.
Nick, do you Pokemon?
I don't. I never have.
I never have
missed
either.
that. I only missed it by a couple years.
Yeah.
I feel some remorse that.
Right.
But I like some kids my age were into it, but they were kind of like you really shouldn't have been. So I
You're
missed it.
too old for
yeah, I missed it by a little bit. But I'm excited for your excitement.
I know. I'm excited for
Appreciate
Brad.
You're glowing,
Congratulations
Brad,
again. He's ecstatic. All right, and to Nick's right.
My name is Rick Stella. I have only played Pokemon Blue, and I think I was in like middle school or something when I played that, and that's about it. But I understand the how crazy everyone gets over it. But
The
I don't know if I'm going to be
enthusiasm.
playing Pokemon Go. Yeah, I'm not as excited as Brad here.
Yeah. 25 years old. I don't know. My enthusiasm for Pokemon has not died down. So.
It's a
I played like Pearl, which was like 2 years ago came out. So
I'm 29. A lot changes in 4 years.
I tell you, as an older man.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, let's get into our topics here because we've got so much to get through today. And I think the first one, let's talk about Tesla and everything that's been going on with it, especially over these last couple of weeks, over the last couple of months, really, and all of their autonomous issues for Autopilot, where, I mean, there was the issue that happened with the Model S, and that was where this guy was driving the car, didn't recognize that there was a trailer. He may or may not have been watching a Harry Potter DVD while it was on autopilot. It hit the trailer, and it was a fatality. And
shouldn't be laughing.
Yeah, I know. I should
Yeah.
have led with that, I guess.
Yeah,
But
right.
it's like, how do you slide that part in there? Which is horrible. But he was utilizing this system, the autopilot for Tesla, which they have claimed is as safe as you can possibly be. However, I guess if it hits from the side, it couldn't really sense it, and whether or not he was paying attention, that was kind of the issue.
Right.
So they're putting out an update for that, Autopilot 8.0, which I believe is coming out here this week. Or very soon anyway, or in the next few weeks, excuse me. It'll download, I guess, as it rolls out. So there's that one, but then on top of that, there's the other issue that just happened with the Model X. And the Model X one, this was a guy who was driving along with a passenger, happened just east of Pittsburgh, and I guess the Model X was traveling east, and it crashed into a guardrail and then ended up going into the other lane and flipped upside down. They were okay and walked away, and he said that it was on autopilot when that happened, and it just did it. One kind of issue with that one is the driver, I guess his name is Albert Scaglione, which that sounds like a Pittsburgh name. So he apparently, Tesla has claimed that they've been trying to contact him. This was just updated today by Digital Trends. And they said he is not returning the phone calls. So
Crickets on his end.
maybe, who knows on that one. But nonetheless, like these are issues that are definitely going to be coming up, especially with the other one with the Model S and these rollouts. Like I'm worried about this just because if everybody starts relying on autopilot, and you see videos more and more of people, just using it, just like YouTube videos of people trying it out and totally not paying attention to the road, how on earth can we ever be safe with these things? Like is Tesla trying to kill us? I guess is what I'm getting down to.
Well, Tesla still claims that autopilot, if you look at the number of incidents per miles logged with autopilot on, it's still safer than your average driver. I don't remember the exact number of incidents per mile or whatever, but man, incidents per mile, that would be pretty bad. But if you look at those statistics right now, it still technically is safer than like your average non-autopiloted vehicle.
Yeah.
So what if it ends up being that I'll ask you guys this. I mean, what if it ends up being that it is safer than statistical average for human drivers, but it's not perfect? Like, would you trust your life to it? Would you read a book while your Tesla drives you to Seattle?
Backseat. I don't know if I sit in a front seat, and like where I'm just strapped in. But
Yeah.
I think they said the other day, and I may be off zeros here, but they said it should save 50,000 lives a year, the autopilot should, or maybe it was 500,000, but this number was staggering on the amount of lives that it could save every year.
Now, is that Tesla saying that?
I don't know who said that, but I think it was just autonomous cars in general was going to
Okay.
save like an astronomical amount of lives. Because like you said, I mean, it's still more efficient than just people driving, and people die. Thousands of people die a day just from driving themselves.
Yeah,
so if there's been one fatality over,
they're saying hundreds of millions of miles.
Yeah.
have been
Yeah,
logged
I think
across
it is
all the
130
tech.
million.
Yeah, like.
But that does bring up a question. I mean, I think this thing in the back of your head, we've just gotten used to the fact that, like, when you're driving, like, anything could happen, no matter how safe a driver you are. But we've just gotten used to the fact that, like, I mean, I probably won't die. But with
As
Tesla...
there are sirens behind us.
Right,
now.
exactly. Yeah, welcome to Portland.
Yeah.
But I think with Tesla, like, it brings up that feeling again that people haven't had to confront probably since they got their driver's license. That, like, I'm getting into something that I could die from, and it makes you think about it a little bit more than getting in a car tonight.
Well, I also think there's like human drivers, you have the illusion of control. I guess it's not an illusion if you're actually controlling the car. You might say, well, statistically, this is more dangerous than driving a Tesla, but I trust myself.
Exactly,
I'm an awesome driver.
Right.
And so I think a lot of people will actually opt to continue driving, even if the statistics say you're safer with autopilot. I think a lot of people will continue opting to drive themselves just because it makes you feel safer, whether statistically, even though you're not.
Right.
Because I don't think people trust computers to drive them yet, even if the numbers say, hey, you should probably just let the Tesla take control.
Yeah, right. They want that control over it themselves. I mean, that makes sense. I can totally see that.
But I mean, I think that is actually going to start changing as time goes on. Younger and younger people who are going to be seeing this, like kids growing up now, this is going to be the norm by the time they reach driving age. Like, say they're 8 years old, in 10 years or whatever it is, for them to get their license. That's going to be the norm. So are they even going to want to learn how to drive at that point, or will just autopilot just kind of take over? Because it does make it a lot easier if you really did fully trust it. You can do whatever you want while you're driving around, and you can play Pokemon Go all you want and find while Tesla drives you everywhere.
Take me to all rivers.
And now Brad is sold on it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's going to fundamentally change, and just it's going to be cheaper for companies too at a certain point to start using this technology. Now, granted, we're talking a few years out, but it's happening fast. I don't think it's too long before we start seeing actual delivery trucks that are autopiloted,
right?
And driving around the city. How do you guys feel about that?
I think there's a pretty distinct difference between like a Tesla with a wheel that you drive most of the time, and it can I got to drive to Seattle, and I'm going to be on the freeway for 3 hours, so I'm just going to put it on autopilot.
Right.
And if something goes wrong, I can grab the wheel. And then you look at some of the the concept cars where there is no wheel, and the car just rolls up and you hop in, and it's like if something goes wrong, at least In the Tesla, you can take over, you can grab that wheel, you can hit the pedal, slam the brakes, whatever.
But
You
I
know,
mean,
that-
then you're pretty much driving anyway,
Right,
Because
but-
you have to pay so much attention.
Well, yeah, but I think you should. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I think, in terms of trusting your car, I think the Tesla's really cool, and I think it's cool that it can autopilot, but I still think if I was sitting in the driver's seat, I would be, even if I'm not touching anything, I'd still be paying attention. You know, especially, after seeing this, like, there's just no reason not to, I feel like,
Yeah.
Maybe that's just me.
Yeah.
So where are people able to do this autonomous driving
Pretty
right
much
now? Is it in a very limited area?
No,
anybody, like people in Portland can be doing it.
I
this
believe
thing
so,
sort of
yeah,
rolled out
yeah.
overnight.
Yeah.
Maybe
It's
I
just
just hadn't
software
been paying attention enough to it or whatnot. But I'd just be curious to like ride in one. I don't know if I would want it as my everyday car, but I would be curious to ride in one.
Well, and that's where it comes down to liability, too,
Yeah.
because if this guy's saying, oh, well, it was the autopilot, even though he has the ability to take control, then who's responsible, when we get into accidents? I mean, granted, that opens up a whole, Pandora's box
Right.
of things. But, then you get Lyft involved and Uber involved and all of those. But, yeah, who's at fault? Who's at fault if the autopilot crashes?
I think
mean-
you have probably sign a liability, like you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have to
I mean,
sign
yeah, and-
something away.
yeah,
There's
right.
no way that Tesla's going to be on the hook for this.
And when
Take
you
the
fire
blame
up
for it.
autopilot, it says, like, do not use this without paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't just say, like, close your eyes and put on some music.
Here's
and
Harry
you'll
Potter.
be there in
Yeah,
30
right.
minutes.
And Jeremy actually wrote I think it was Jeremy that wrote an op-ed on digitaltrends.com that you can read, was talking about that, I think his title was something like, does Tesla have blood on its hands? But, just kind of bringing up that point, like, even though they warn you about it, who reads the fine print really on that
did you
stuff?
read the iTunes terms of agreement
Yeah.
before you clicked I agree?
Exactly.
Probably no one did that for their Tesla either. Not
Yeah.
to say that you shouldn't, but
Right.
realistically, the people that are turning on this mode aren't really paying attention.
No.
But you aren't putting iTunes life in your hand, or your life in iTunes hands.
don't
It's
do
not
that.
like, if the wrong song comes up on shuffle, there's going to be an accident.
But if say for instance, if you go to like an amusement park and you buy a ticket and on the back of it says you can die on these roller coasters, and you take no moment to read that in the back, and you'll just hop on Matterhorn or whatever, if that thing goes off the rails and you die, and there it is. You've given them, and that's sort of
Yeah.
similar to something like this. That people are just like not even batting an eye at it, getting in here, doing auto mode, and just kind of seeing where it takes them.
But it's all run off of this software. I mean, how hackable is the software? How
Well, they
secure
pride
is
themselves
that,
on the
you
fact that it's pretty safe, right? I mean, that's one
Yeah.
of the things that it's like unhackable. I mean,
Which
Yeah,
means
we'll
everybody's
find
trying
out,
to hack
yeah.
it is what
Right.
it is. Everybody's trying to get into it then. I guess we'll see what happens with it, but it is just an interesting point just to kind of see how this transition is actually happening right in front of us right now. As now legislators are probably going to try to catch up to it and figure out more of the details on it. The insurance industry sure will.
Yeah.
They'll try to figure it out. But yeah, I'm curious what people think too. If you're watching live right now, we're going to get into some other topics too. But just go ahead and pop your questions in here or your comments on the YouTube video, or send us an email, podcast@digitaltrends.com, and we'll come back to those. All right, let's go on to the next thing here. This one I wanted to talk about just because the video is ridiculous, although it is another future tech possibility, something that I guess, part of it's definitely going to happen. Part of it, I don't know. It sounds kind of ridiculous. It is that the military is now speculating that they could be on the verge, at least in the future, of being able to essentially grow drones in like a 3D printing process. But it's a nanotechnology process. The video, and I'm sorry if you're listening via podcast, you got to go to the page here and
looks
find
like,
this
you guys
video.
know that show Reboot?
Reboot?
Remember that? Yeah, it looks just like it.
This
Yes.
animated graphic of these guys, with big cylinders where they're filling it with liquid, and then these drones start to grow out of it. And I guess the idea is that you
Mechanical
can,
fetus.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. And the idea is that you can rapidly change them if you decide, this isn't working for what we want it to do. You can change the whole structure of them and grow a new one in a very short amount of time, and just have all of these drones that do whatever you want, which totally sounds like the Matrix and whatever you call those things that were down in the tubes, the long
right.
cylinders. Yeah, that's what they're growing here.
It really does look like every 90s sci-fi game
Yeah,
I've ever played.
totally. Yeah, it really does. Yeah, apparently they cannot afford good graphics, but they did.
They're like, you get it. You
Yeah,
get it.
you get the idea. Yeah, And
This is my favorite part of this video,
Yeah,
though.
right?
Yeah, the
is that
video
in
with
a
it-
future where we can take a bunch of molecules and put them in a tank and recombine them into absolutely anything, we still have guys running around with guns on a field
soldiers, yeah.
that need this thing overhead to blow stuff up.
This is coming from the cutting edge research, according to the article here at Digital Trends, from BAE Systems at the University of Glasgow. So this is what they're talking about, speculating that it may come. Mainly, I just wanted to show that video because it's just so incredible. I'll be reposting that later.
I feel like they were just around the table at one point. They're like, what next? They're like, we have 3D printing, we have drones. How about we grow drones?
Just grow a drone,
yeah.
man.
And yeah, let's try that.
Make a video.
Someone's like, already done, man.
The stoner division of the military. There probably is a stoner division. All right, let's move on to something else. We're just gonna kind of hop through some topics here, and the next one is something we actually talked about on one of our other new shows here at Digital Trends, which is called Close to the Metal, where we kind of hone in on specific subjects, more direct, like computer subjects. We talk about GPUs and things like that. You can find the show at digitaltrends.com. Close to the Metal, that's the title we're going with right now. It was Chip Chat, but we found out Chip Chat we could not use for various reasons, so we've changed it. And that is here with Brad as well. So Brad and Matt Smith are the hosts of that, and I kind of guide it. I guide it. You guys know what you're talking about, and I learn from you guys. That's pretty much how that works. But one of the subjects we did talk about was this, and what happened in Japan. This actually happened. Japan had I believe probably the first ever, VR porn festival. A virtual reality porn festival that started, and it was so popular, the police had to come in and shut it down because it was so overcrowded.
That sounds like jealousy to me. Like everybody out of here, leave the stuff, but everybody out of here. And show us how to use it.
Confiscating this,
yeah,
this. The thing is, though, I talked about this on the other show. Like, why
Spread
would
your
you
hand.
want to go to this? Like, I would not want to be in this crowded room rubbing against all these dudes so excited about their VR porn. I mean, it's just, I wouldn't want to imagine like the sights and the sounds that you're going to experience in there.
Like, please tell me that was a controller that just hit my leg.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so packed you can't move.
Right,
You're just
exactly.
stuck there. I mean, they had different things like
The fist bump
fist bump,
simulator.
that's the fist bump simulator. We'll call that. It's
Brad knows how to use that one.
again for the podcast listeners. It's a hand outstretched almost to a closed fist, and you,
So fill in the blanks.
yeah, you know,
Fill in the blanks.
I mean, this is one of the items they had showcasing. There was just banks of people with VR goggles on and VR glasses on, watching, I'm sure, very appropriate videos for a VR porn festival. And this is just the fact that it got shut down is hilarious. So, thoughts on the VR porn festival? I don't know really where to go from there. Other than that.
I like that there was
Nick, can you
business
break
cards.
down the VR
Yeah,
porn
you gotta have.
I like there's business cards, and someone's just like, yeah, I want that one.
Saving this for later.
Yeah. Gosh.
waiting
I
in
will say that
line.
I demo a lot of VR headsets. Like that tends
Yeah.
to be something around the office that's been happening recently, and a lot of people ask me about porn. That's
Yeah.
like first question out of their mouths. They're like, "Wow, this is really cool. Is there porn?
Well, you were at
Can you look at
CES
porn on
right?
this?"
You were at
Yeah,
the
and there was
CES,
there was
like,
actually a
secret
cocktail
location.
party, for Naughty America at CES, and they had a nice little spread of Gear VRs, and then they actually showed up at E3, and it was funny because in all these
I thought you
little
were gonna say
back
like a fruit
stands,
plate or something.
yeah,
Like, nice
no,
little
they had
spread
actually a
of
really
fruit.
nice spread. It was at this, they had these little back booths at CES or at E3 that are, they're not huge companies or peripherals or small games, and most of them are kind of sparse. And there was one that just had 50 people, 100 people all the time crowded around it. It was Naughty America. That's not even really a game, and they admitted that, but there were so many people who wanted to see that, and just like 4 Gear VRs and all the Lysol wipes in the world, I guess.
Well, hopefully, maybe this will be coming to the U.S.
We'll have
soon.
some reviews coming in, I think.
Yeah,
pretty
I believe
soon.
I believe Brad will be the ambassador to the VR porn festival. Probably there may be some fighting over that one. I don't know. I don't know who else will be down to go to that one, but that is something that happened in Japan. There's a couple other things with VR though that are actually coming to fruition, and one of them has to do with the Olympics. The Olympics coming up in Brazil, which I don't know if you guys have read about everything going on with the Olympics. It's going to be a disaster. Like there's
fire, yeah.
Zika virus is the least of concerns right now. There's some new super bacteria that I guess is in the water that they have no cure for. There's nothing that can fight it. And so they haven't even identified it yet, really, other than there's a super bacteria.
Didn't a severed foot wash up on the
Yes,
beach
the
too?
severed foot did just watch up on the
Yeah.
beach. Yeah, and their infrastructure's collapsing. Actually, when you arrive there, I guess the police and firemen are on strike, and they're sitting there at
jeez.
the airport where they've got these signs. Like there's a sign if you're watching it. These are what the police and firefighters are
wow.
holding up. There's signs that just say "Welcome to Hell," and police and
Damn.
firefighters don't get paid. Whoever comes to Rio de Janeiro will not be safe. So anyway, the
Just what
Olympics
you
are
want to see
happening,
when you step off a plane.
and NBC is planning to stream this all live on VR. So
Oh, nice.
it's.
So we can watch the ship sink.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's kind of it. Yeah, I mean, I take that back. It's not
Like
going
I'm
to be
right in the room with the super bacteria.
Exactly. I can feel it crawling in my skin.
Look, of all events that you want to stream, I mean, yes, I guess the Olympics would be good. I watched some of it when they had they streamed some of March Madness.
Oh yeah, that was cool. I remember
Yeah,
doing
that was
Yeah.
pretty cool. Where they're going to set up, they're not saying exactly. They're going to have something with the opening ceremony, and it sounds like it's going to be delayed a little bit because it might not all be live. They're not really being too specific on that, so I wouldn't be surprised if they came up with some live content if they're able to do it for
Right.
March Madness, probably for this. But with that though, this is just going to be, I don't know what else to call it. It's going to be a shit show.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be crazy, and I want to watch it, and I'm excited about it.
Greg
So-
likes to watch the world burn.
I
Okay,
mean,
yeah.
you know what's going to happen.
Oh,
You
yeah.
might as well be there in VR. But it opens up the idea, like, what other kinds of events are they going to start doing this for? Because VR becomes more popular and it's more accessible. What kind of events would you guys want to see in VR?
I think
Something
everything. I
like
think
that.
any sporting event.
Any
because
sporting
you can
event?
get like 'cause
Yeah.
with March Madness, you're courtside, and that's something that
Yeah.
like not an ordinary person would have the ability to do. Is to spend that kind of money, especially at March Madness, to sit courtside at something.
Yeah.
So to have like an up close and personal view would be very like a singular activity though. Like you couldn't just like watch football like with your buddies or anything. You'd be like literally by yourself. Like, sorry guys, I got 50-yard line tickets. You know.
Yeah.
But I think they could expand to any sport, and it would be fun to watch.
You said you already watched it for March Madness. Did
Mm-hmm.
it actually improve the experience, or was it like this is novel? Like,
It was-
were you experiencing it in a way that like was completely unlike TV and it added a whole new element, or were you just like, well, this is different?
It did add a different element. You could tell it's in its definitely beginning stages as far as resolution. If once the resolution gets cleared up, because the way that one worked is you were courtside and it would rotate you on its own to like 4 different spots. One was up in the stands where you would be watching the game from that, and you'd have the peanut guy like walking by, so you'd see all the actual people like interacting.
front, man.
Yeah. And then another one was behind the basket of each basket, which was pretty cool because you could see the guys coming up and dunking it, and you were right there. And then one was courtside. I think it's really got the potential to add a lot to it. The Olympic sports, I'm not really that into a whole lot of them, but I'm sure with this, I will watch whatever they put out. And I think really, I mean, watching the March Madness one, it did add a new element. It just needs some work.
Right. I wonder where they would
Needs some
put your
work.
location in some of the Summer Olympics things. If it's like
That's the
rowing
thing.
or like even swimming, you're like, I could probably get this exact view just from a TV. It
Right.
doesn't really do much other than me seeming like I'm in there.
Yeah.
Was it surround sound too? Like you'd hear people behind you and.
I don't recall for sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was or not. It might have been. But yeah, I mean, I think with this there is a lot of potential, but I think it can even go beyond, sports when you get into just entertainment for like concerts and things like that,
Oh,
because that's
yeah.
something they've definitely
For
been working with. But anything else you got to add to that, Brad?
Well, I was thinking the track and field. Like if you were watching
Yeah.
the Olympics, that'd be fun because you could just sit in the middle of it
Uh-huh.
and see all the different events going on just by like spinning around. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
would look
Oh,
over there,
I
like,
see what you mean.
Oh, people are racing right there, and
Like
somebody's
zoom
throwing
in or
shot put over
something.
here.
Yeah.
I think that'd be kind of neat to be able to, rather than we've seen some videos that are like VR videos. There was
Right.
one for like football, the NFL draft, and it was like prospects, a frame this big where they're throwing footballs and everything else is totally still around you, and it's like this video is
Worthless.
completely uninteresting.
Right.
Yeah, and
Whereas
unnecessary
if
for-
you're watching rowing, it's like I'm sitting in the stands watching the boats like everyone else,
Right.
which is sort of okay. But like to see like a bunch of events going on.
Unless they
like,
mounted
that'd
it
be
in
fun.
the boats, then that would be
Yeah.
kind of cool.
It would actually
Something
take
like
advantage.
that.
It's like I'm really
Yeah.
rowing.
Yeah, but I bet nobody's going to want to do that. Nobody wants to have the camera in there. Plus, they're going through super bacteria, so you could see
Here,
that
you
happen
hold this.
live. So,
Strap this to your head.
Yeah.
It's no big deal.
and we'll know more about that as it comes up. But there is an article on digitaltrends.com you can go check out, and I'm sure we'll find out more of what's going to happen with that as we get closer to the Olympics. It's if they even happen. It's just. I'm serious. Follow up on it. It's crazy. There's a list on NPR of the 10 things. I think it was like 10 things that'll kill you at the Olympics. It's great. It's crazy.
I wonder how close it would get for them to actually cancel it.
I don't know. It's got to be getting pretty close.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of money in it though.
Right.
So maybe we'll just keep going through it anyway. I will be watching it in VR.
Right.
All right. Finally, something that they could probably use at the Olympics is I believe we talked about this particular security robot a while ago. It's called the K5, and it's by a company called Nightscope. And this is a security droid robot. I'm not sure what you would want to call it. They're calling it a robot. It looks more like something out of Doctor Who. What do they call those? The one machines in Doctor Who, like exterminate. Okay, nobody knows what I'm talking about. I don't watch it either.
on
People
YouTube.
are-
Yeah, they're all hate
I was
us.
like, there's got to be one of us in here that knows. Oops. Well, anyway, the Doctor Who thing. It looks kind of like that. It's this cylindrical robot. It weighs about 350 pounds, I believe. And these things are patrolling a mall now, 300 pounds, patrolling a mall at the Stanford Shopping Center. And this thing, the way it's designed is it can detect, it's got face recognition, license plate recognition, it's got a two-way audio with public address, thermal imaging, high-def video, 360-degree video, and those are just part of it. Oh, and it can broadcast as well. The video of it is hilarious. And I don't know if we have the video or not, but even just some of the images are funny because it's not a friendly-looking thing. It doesn't make you feel secure
Right.
when you're taking a look at this. It looks like something out of the future where it's going to tase you. And but I mean, I guess we're probably going to see more of these around as it becomes more affordable. They're saying it carries out its patrolling services for a little less than $7 an hour. So when it ends up working out with it.
Not bad.
What do you guys think about this? Are you okay with the K5 security bot patrolling your mall?
I don't think it makes me feel any more secure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a camera on wheels is what it. I mean, it has it has different cameras and it has like an alarm button you can press and stuff. But ultimately, it's a camera on wheels. Like if something there's in this video, which I don't. Do we have that to play? Or?
We don't.
think
Yeah.
So in the video, there's like a part where like some lady's walking to her car, and then this creepy-looking dude kind of comes out of the side, and she hides behind the robot and presses a button, and then the guy runs away, and it's like, well, I guess it would be good if that happens, but I don't know if you're actually being menaced by someone. Is this robot actually can it do anything? Not really.
Oh, it
Yeah.
doesn't have like a cattle prod or something.
No, it
so
has no, like-
chase after people. Hey, you're stealing. Like, no, I bought this.
I swear I'm on this.
There's a Chinese robot I remember that we talked about that does have the ability to do
Yeah,
that.
that's
that
what you need.
it will tase you. I mean, I'm sure it's not too far off to put that onto something like this, although it might have to have a little more regulations in the U.S. But yeah, it's just a strange concept. With everybody trying to make robots look more human-like, so they're more accepting. People are working towards that. This is going the exact opposite direction. This is, I'm going to terrify you and probably tase you. I'm just assuming it's going to tase
Does
you.
it have any like statistics of like what it's done?
No, there's
help
not
out
a
the
whole
students?
lot. There's not a whole lot
Fallen over
right now.
14 times.
Yeah, right.
Tried to go down the escalator once.
It's just running into a glass wall.
It's like shoplifting is up, you know? Yeah, like it hasn't stopped anybody.
just tagged from
Yeah.
spray paint. Oh, it is going to get tagged so fast. That will be funny. Well, it's let's see. So it's to ensure coverage in blind spots traditionally missed by CCTV. We'll see what it is. How it's going to all work out. It's even got a mobile app for it from the Nightscope Security Operations Center. That is the name of the company.
Such
I've-
a menacing name.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And go to digitaltrends.com too and watch the video. We'll put a link in the post for this. It's not a comforting video. It does not make me feel safe.
I, for one, welcome our new robot overlords.
No, that's right. Brad is already sold to him. Yeah, they're going to give him Pokemon and he'll be just fine.
That's all it takes.
He's sitting on one of
Would
those,
you like
riding
a-
it around.
Yeah.
Would you like a Pokemon? Tell me where the humans are.
I will sell my species into slavery for a Pokemon.
They're hiding in the closet.
Damn it, Brad!
All right, well,
God.
that's our show for this week. Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching via YouTube, let us know what you guys would like to talk about. Send us an email, podcast@digitaltrends.com. And tune in to our other show, which is Close to the Metal. You can find it on Digital Trends. We also have Between the Streams, a lot of different stuff that we're starting up here, and we're excited about it. We want you guys to participate. So as I said, watch it on YouTube. Send an email, podcast@digitaltrends.com. There we go. I worked that one out. This is what you get watching live. I'll probably cut that out so I sound better. And on top of that, subscribe on iTunes and Stitcher and all those other places. So thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another episode.